This is sort of what we're imagining. There is a 3-day weekend experience that is the first taste that you would get of the AIR curriculum. It is sort of imagined to be the core change moment for the whole program, the signature piece. And what happens at this 3-day weekend experience happens for 3 different audiences. There's professional artists and creatives. And then there's what, we need a good term for this, and then there's the novice creatives. And these are folks who may or may not be trained, but who have not become a professional artist. They have not said, I am a professional artist, let alone have they necessarily made much money in that. So they're really at a decision point about what they want to do. Do they want to do this professionally? It's also for people who are reconsidering where their career that is not in the creative field. So a little bit different group of people, but who are still definitely creatives. And then the other group is the business and community. So at this 3-day experience, there are sort of 3 different pieces that happen. The first part is the paradigm shift. So work that is about, and class, I don't even want to call it classes, because this isn't about learning, this is about just sort of absorbing this idea, which is, let's think about art and creativity in a completely different way. Let's think about it in relation to community, and let's throw our original ideas about how we might make money if we were creative, or how we think about art if we're a business, out the window and rethink how all of this works. So it's the same conversations that we've been having all along, but it's done in an organized fashion that allows people to make that switch. I mean, all of you and everybody who's been involved in the committees, you're already bought in, but there's definitely work that it takes for people to understand this switch and to actually make it feel right for them. So that's part of that first session. Another piece of that is about learning and sort of getting ready to be a learner, finding where you are in your life and your career, whether you're in either one of these groups, is part of all of that. These are done separately. So the professionals are by themselves, the novices are by themselves, and the business and community are by themselves for this part, so that there's some like-minded connecting going on, and because there's pretty different things that we might want to be talking with them about. Then the second thing that happens is there is something that is simulated, and the proposal that is on the table is that we're going to get all of these groups together and then divide them into small groups. So you'd have 2 professional artists, 2 novice creatives, and 2 business and community people working together on the creation of a creative business. And so imagine there's a rock band, there's a graphic design firm, there's a windmill company that wants to make sculptures out of the blades of the windmills, different variety of businesses. And these folks would go through a simulation process that would allow them to make big picture business decisions, how they would spend money. They could see what happens if you don't spend enough on marketing, or what happens if you spend too much on having fun, though if you're the rock band. And then seeing the implications. So the idea would be that you would go through several years of this simulation in order to really get a better sense of what running a creative business is all about. Then the final piece of this 3-day experience would be going back into these your original groups and working on plans for the future. So this would be the beginning of your coaching relationship and the beginning of how you would plan the next pieces that you're going to do along the AIR continuum. So that next continuum piece is a 4 to 6 month process that is, this is a variety of classes and coaching that happens along here that gets you ready to make a business or project plan proposal so that at the end you are ready to present to, for instance, the revolving loan fund, micro-lending piece, or to another funding agency. Maybe you're ready to go to a traditional loan route, or you're just going to, this is a commission that you're working on. So this idea is you spend 4 to 6 months, you're back with your people you were originally with, you're with the coaching people, and you're working on a fairly more traditional business plan-y kind of skills in here. But you also have the option to take some additional classes that are more about skill building. There are 16 of these that would exist. So for instance, if you really are not as strong as you need to be in marketing, you can take this marketing module. There is a creativity module, and there's an arts exposure, interactive, arts exposure experience that's part of this, but most of this is, you know, it's the stuff over here. It's not on here. Fundraising, sales, archiving, some of those more hard skills. So the idea is that when you're back here at the third piece of your weekend workshop, you work with your coach to figure out what your plan is to move forward. So you can do this 4 to 6 thing and take some extra pieces because you already know that you need some skills there, or those get added along the way. Or you may decide that you don't want to do this, you just need to take 3 of these classes. The advantage that we have here in our minds is that because we'll be in these different kinds of groups, you can tailor this piece a little bit more clearly for someone who's already in business or for somebody who's making the decision to become a business. We don't know, I'm not sure we know yet what that path is, or if there is a path for the business and community side in that 4 to 6 month way. We think they may just take the bits and pieces. But we also imagine that because mentoring and coaching is such a big piece of this, that this is where these folks get back involved, is that they can actually be helping us teach some of these other specific classes, and they may become folks who want to be involved in the mentoring programs as well. So that is, in a nutshell, the idea.
Prerequisite.
There is one prerequisite for this, which is this. You have to have done a paradigm shift in order to do this. You can do this by itself. You can take these classes by themselves, but you can't do this unless you've done this. The other piece is that all of these little classes will have a pinch of this in them. So that paradigm shift will be filtered throughout all of those extra classes. So that if you take a class at AIR, you will have some sort of paradigm shift, conversation, eye-opening experience. But then you'll get into, okay, here's how you need to be a fundraiser or whatever.
So this is like your blue chip program, but there are a lot of other modules available if you want to use blue chip.
Are you saying that this is the blue chip?
The whole thing's gonna.
Or
are you saying everybody who wants to take a class at AIR has to go through this 3-day weekend?
No, anybody can take these extra things, but in order to take this one, that's 4 to 6 and is coaching along the way, that, and its goal is that you actually go apply for money somewhere, that you need to take this first. So the points of entry are here and here.
And is this open to anybody? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anybody who, let's go, I don't have it in here, who is a community or member or creative who is interested in the paradigm shift about art, money, value, blah, blah, remember our target audience.
And what is the, what's the thought as far as structuring the offering of this? Like, are these module things gonna be like happening every so often repeatedly? Is this gonna happen one time a year, or what are you thinking about?
So we're thinking that depending on how we roll this out in our first year, this is what happens fairly regularly. And then as these happen, this obviously follows. But these, yes, are happening. These portions can be streamed. This has to happen in person. This happens either in Fort Collins or it happens in Boise, Idaho. But then they can do this work in a streamed fashion. So they can either do it, in this case, you'd be doing it live, so it'd be a live stream experience. These will probably be on demand in addition to live, once we have that stuff actually recorded.